Hi, I am Congressman Sean Casten from Illinois' 6th District, and I'm really looking forward to this. I get to read a book today that I loved reading to my daughters when they were young. I probably would still read it to them if they wanted to. It's called Iggy Peck, Architect, and you're gonna like it. Hopefully be a little bit inspired to it. By it. Young Iggy Peck is an architect, and has been since he was 2, when he built a great tower in only an hour with nothing but diapers and glue. Good gracious, Ignatius, his mother exclaimed, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. But her smile faded fast as a light wind blew past, and she realized those diapers weren't clean. Ignatius, my son, what on earth have you done? That's disgusting and nasty. It stinks. But Iggy was gone. He was out on the lawn using dirt clods to build a great sphinx. When Iggy was 3, his parents could see his unusual passion would stay. He built churches and chapels from peaches and apples, and temples from modeling clay. At dinner one night, to his father's delight, Iggy got a bright gleam in his eye, and out on the porch built the St. Louis Arch from pancakes and coconut pie. Dear Ig had it made until 2nd grade, when his teacher was Miss Lila Greer. On the very first day, she had this to say: "We do not talk of buildings in here. Gothic or Romanesque, I couldn't care less about buildings, ancient or new." She said in her lecture about architecture that it had no place in grade 2. That might seem severe, but she was sincere. For when she was no more than 7, she'd had a great fright at a dizzying height in a building so tall it scraped heaven. On an architect's tour of the 95th floor, young Lila got lost from the group. Soon she was found 2 days later in a stuck elevator, eating cheese with a French circus troupe. After that day, it's quite safe to say, she thought all building lovers were nuts. As a teacher, she taught that above all one ought to avoid them, no ifs, ands, or buts. As you might guess, it would cause Iggy stress to hear such terrible talk. But he didn't hear. He sat in the rear while building a castle of chalk. "You, Iggy Peck, your deck is a wreck! Tear down that castle right now. You will not build in here. Is that perfectly clear?"
My name is Bonnie Mathias, and I am the coordinator of the Illinois Center for the Book, a programming arm of the Illinois State Library, a department of the Illinois Secretary of State's office. We are based out of the Illinois State Library's Gwendolyn Brooks building in Springfield, Illinois, and we are incorporated as the 3rd affiliate of the Center for the Book in the Library of Congress. Before we get started with our interview, I'd like to offer special appreciation to U.S. Congressman Sean Casten for his book selection, Iggy Peck, Architect. It is written by all-time favorite Illinois children's author, Andrea Beatty. Andrea, you are one busy woman.
A little bit busy.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to be with us here today.
Well, thank you. And I want to thank the Library of Congress, which is, I always refer to the Library of Congress as the keeper of the keys, because they're the keeper of the keys of all things for this country. And the state library systems are the keeper of the keys for every state. So thank you for this to the Center for the Book. And also thank you, Representative Casten, for picking Iggy Peck Architect. I actually live in the 6th District of Illinois, and so he's my representative. That makes me super excited.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, are you ready to get ready or get going, I should say, with a few interview questions?
I am ready to get ready.
Okay. Andrea, when did you know that you were going to become an author?
I did not ever imagine being a writer of any variety until I was in my I was about 30, I guess. So in my late 20s that I started doing some writing, technical writing at a computer company. And not long after that, I had kids and I was staying home with them and reading tons of picture books. and kind of fell in love with picture books. And that was the first time I'd ever thought, gee, I want to try my hand at this. And so I started writing them, and it kind of worked out. No one's more surprised than I am and more delighted, but it's such a marvelous art form. It's kind of a very unique thing where the pictures and the words, there's this magic that happens in the land where they meet, somewhere in between the two of them, that there's nothing else quite like it. So I'm quite late to the game, can I say? Although, having said that, that's now been a minute. So I guess, I don't know. Time flies when you're having fun.
Oh gosh. Well, late to the game or not, you're doing quite well. You're
Thank
just
you.
kicking them out.
I get on a roll. And then I spend a lot of time just staring into space, like I use up all the verbs and adverbs and things in my head and can't pull a word out of my brain to save my life for a while.
Yeah. Well, how did you come up with the idea of Iggy Peck Architect?
So when my son was a little guy, when he was, 3, 4 years old, he was that kid who loved to build with whatever he could find. And so, when I was cooking dinner, I'd pull out all the cans of soup, and he would make them into giant towers or cities. And, of course, Legos were everywhere and still are in our house. And so I just kind of one day got the thought, what if there was a kid who was so passionate about building things, and particularly architecture, and just started thinking about that and letting that idea just tool around in my brain, and it kind of morphed into this book, Iggy Peck Architect. And so when a picture book that rhymes comes to me, it sort of rattles around in my head, and it's almost like listening to music that's kind of on the other side of a wall. I can't quite hear what the words are, but it's just the rhythm of it and the music of the text just sort of comes to me for a while, and then I get it and then write it down. And so that's what happened with Iggy Peck. And it was originally going to be a sort of a standalone book. It was just this one book. The publisher found this magnificent artist, David Roberts, in London, and he drew this beautiful, beautiful collection of kids just based on the text of Iggy Peck Architect. So there were no illustration notes that said, gee, can you have this marvelous, diverse group of kids and one that maybe could spark other ideas for books. But he just drew this beautiful classroom of kids. And then from that came Rosie Revere, and then Ada Twist, and all the other books since, Sophia Valdez, Future Prez, and the next one, Aaron Slater, illustrator. David created this beautiful bunch of kids, and each character that he's drawn have their own personality. I mean, they are kind of complete people, but he doesn't share with me who they are, just leaves little clues to their personalities. And so I stare at them and think about them and ask them, who are you? What's your deal? And eventually they kind of tell me, and that becomes the next book, which then David illustrates and then includes more beautiful clues about who these kids are, and kind of the circle goes on.
I love it. So you start with one,
Yeah.
and it just led into all of the others. Oh,
Yeah.
here they are, helping to build the bridge, and you can start to see some of them come together, just even there. Just, you can start to see their personalities even come through there.
Indeed, yes. Yeah, and it's the interesting thing too that David does with his illustrations is that the illustrations seem very simple, but there's an enormous amount of detail tucked into each illustration. And David puts in so many Easter eggs. He ties little secret things between in the book, and then also among all the titles, all the books, so that kids who will sit and pore over these illustrations, because they really, while they seem simple, there's so much to see that kids really respond to that. And I think it's one of the things I love best about David's art is that it's so respectful to kids. He knows that they can handle a lot in an illustration, and it makes those books something that they want to revisit over and over and over again. So I just think that's so much fun. So
Well, I know you can pull them in at the National Book Festival, Andrea.
I love the National Book Festival. And can you see, and I did not put that up there for today. That's a National Book Festival poster.
Oh my
First
gosh.
time I got to go, and I love that festival so much. I hope one day we can get back to going in person.
Andrea, can you think of anything else you would like to share with the group?
I'm so pleased. I want to thank all the librarians out there, all the educators, all the parents, everyone who helps get books, and the independent booksellers, because if they play such a key role in books finding an audience and getting a chance to get out into the world. They're sort of right there at the starting process, and they're so essential. I just want to thank everyone who gets books to kids, and it's particularly now where there's so many of us are still stuck at home, or we're in this strange era of you know being at home or being at school, or just complicated. And the joy that books bring to kids and the comfort they bring to kids is so important. It's really everything. I don't think there's much that we can do for kids that gives them the longer benefit than reading with them. So everyone who's out there making that happen, thank you. Keep up the great work.
Well, Andrea, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to be with us here today. I just want to remind everybody about Iggy Peck, architect, and the questionnaires series. It's a wonderful, wonderful series to introduce your children to, and go out, take a look at them, and it's going to be a never-ending supply of, entertainment for your children. So thank you so much, Andrea.
Thank you. And also, everyone, if you go out to questioneers.com, that's questioner with two E's.com, there are resources for educators, there are downloadable things for kids and families, and a lot more information about the books, and all kinds of goodies. So something to pass some time and have some fun.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Andrea.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
We'll see you. Bye-bye.